So I sat in the plane when I was in the plane. Two white British were sitting next to me, and I was very nervous just to talk to them because of my poor English and my accent. In midnight, I felt pressure to go to toilet, and when I went, I saw the pot and its sink was too small. I was not sure whether it was for number two. I thought I will not take my chances. What if I do it and it doesn't go away and lingers in the entire plane and everyone will blame me for that. So I said no way. I decided to get back, decided to see whether someone is going for longer time, for 20 minutes or more than that. And then I thought, and then I'll go. So I was sitting there, I was watching people going and coming in few minutes, and my pressure was continuously building. Finally, I saw one old lady to get in, and she got out after quite some time. And then I thought, let's see, I think it should be. I went in, then also I did not take any risk. I took the toilet paper, I sort of wrapped it up, and then I threw it in the sink and flushed, and it got sucked. Then I was sure, okay, then I can release myself, and that's why I released myself. So these were the first experiences sitting in the plane. I landed Great Heathrow London airport in the morning, and I was standing there on the immigration line. So before coming to London, everyone in India, they told me, if you fail to answer the questions to immigration guys, then they will send you back. So my concern was, how will I understand their accent? What if I don't understand their accent? And because of the poor English, I had to write everything, all the probable questions, and I had recited, with the help of my old technique, all the answers. So I was memorizing all the questions and answers while standing in the queue. And to my surprise, the officer, he did not ask me anything. And then I went ahead. So I was carrying this huge luggage, but I was hungry. So I went out and I saw Costa Cafe. I pulled my luggage at one place, and I was just going through all the products of Costa Cafe. And I was seeing coffee for £3.50, £4 sandwich. So I was converting everything in rupees. That time, £1 was equivalent, £1 equivalent to 100 rupees. So one sandwich was for 500 rupees, one coffee for 350 rupees. And that time, the coffee in India was for 10 rupees. And the sandwich was for, let's say, 25 rupees. And here it 500 rupees. I was carrying £1,000 in my pocket. The rest of the fees had gone to the tuition fees. And I was carrying only £1,000. The plan was to come here and get a part-time job along with the studies. So to witness such prices was a first shocker. So I asked the Costa lady, to give me one particular thing. She said something which I did not understand. A British lady with British accent. So I did not understand. So I panicked. So I pointed out the same thing again. She again said something. Because I was already panicked, so I panicked more, because again I did not understand what she said. So I again pointed the same thing. And then after that, she was like, okay, forget it. Fortunately, one Indian guy was there. He came to me and he asked me in Hindi, what do I want? So I said, okay, brother, give me this thing. See, he said, no, this is frozen and I cannot eat it here. So I asked him, okay, give me whatever it is, that I can eat and whatever is cheaper. And I began to have my breakfast, and I received a first call from India, and the gentleman was Asif. So Asif was the guy who was working in a multiplex in City Pride Kothurud, Pune, and I happened to have a friendship with him. The reason I'm mentioning his name because he said one such thing, such powerful thing, which made huge impact in my life. He said, you have got this opportunity, no one gets, now you are there, make it worth, otherwise don't come back to India. So try to give your best shot, be something, be someone, do something good, make your parents proud, make all India proud. So it was quite a powerful line, and he was the person I remember. After that I went out. It was chilling cold, a winter cold, with all my luggage, and I was waiting for the bus. And now, as I was waiting for bus, I had experience with the public transport from Pune, where the bus used to come and all the crowd used to go all together or trying to get in the bus all together with no line and nothing, and just try to push themselves, get into the bus and get the place in the bus. So that was my experience, and I did not know how I would be here because I was worried. I was carrying so much luggage. Fortunately, people were standing in queue and it was easy to get in, and British gentleman, he helped me to get my luggage in. I began my journey towards Coventry. I was traveling through London. I was witnessing all these historic great buildings and places. It felt like a Disneyland trip. It was so beautiful. I mean, I've seen all these places only in books and the movies and in the media. And such a beautiful thing. Managed to get into Coventry, and I found a place. After first few days of the registration with the university and everything, the most important thing was to find a job in the part-time job. And I did not know the process, how the part-time jobs would be there, although there was some information which was given to us in the university, but desperate to get a job for the finances. I began my search, and I started to submit my resume almost every shops in the city center in Coventry, but no one was offering the job. The time was running out. So around November end, I was out of money, and I called home to my father asking about the money. He said it was beyond his capacity to send me here in the UK in first place, and he can't help me. It was the first time I remember I felt the feeling of loneliness, and I understood if I want to survive, only I am the person who is coming to help myself. No one in the world will come to help, to rescue me. So it was brutal. I continued my hunt to search the job. Meanwhile, I borrowed some money from the colleagues whom I met there. And I managed to land a job in a Nigerian restaurant, in an African restaurant. as a kitchen porter, a toilet cleaner, and a dishwasher. That was the only option I had to survive. So the job was every evening from 8 to 12. Yeah, I started with that job. And it was so difficult to clean the toilet and to clean all the dishes and vessels and clean entire kitchen, clean floor. The job was for 4 hours, but I had to work for 5, sometimes 6 hours in the night, in the winter also. Here, the person like me who grew up as a Indian kid, we have our mother, we have our servant to help us in these jobs. Now, I was doing all these jobs. After that, I managed to get one more job as a marketing advisor, which was an internship in the university in a cultural department. And then again, I got a job as a Hindi tutor, which was a well-paying job. I was teaching Hindi to PhD students or the students who wanted to go to India on a field visit or some projects. And then I got a job, Libara phone company, as a salesperson. And in the weekends, I was working in a warehouse to load, unload the parcels. So I was doing 5 jobs in a week along with my studies. It went from December until early June. So for like 6 months, I was doing 5 jobs in a week and the studies as well. I had come only with 1-year visa from September 2012 to September 2013. So my visa was finishing on 30 September 2013. The moment I came here, I realized the things which I had grown up with, the notions about the British culture and everything, or whatever the hunky-dory system which I saw in the movies, in the Johar and Chopras. The things were not glamorous the way they showed in the movies, so I felt like I was fooled by them. But the other positive side was I felt very free here, liberated. I felt equal, or had the sense of equality in this society, which I never felt in India. It was just a freedom. No one was here to judge you, and no one was here to pull you down. So we were absolutely free to choose on our own choices and work for it, and no any traditional or conservative thoughts also. But at the same time, from a British point of view, I've realized these people, how the British society, or how the people whom I interacted, the local people, they knew very little things about India. And their impression about India was from movies like Slumdog Millionaire, or the news which BBC had been showing to them. And most of the news which had been shown are on the negative issues such as rapes or poverty. People from the older generation, they were under impression still in India, people, they travel on elephant and they are snake charmers. Certainly there was prejudice and the stereotypes about Indians, and which I also had towards British, but it started to fade away when I witnessed the real thing. But everyone was so generous. All the time, every time here, whenever they used to meet, they used to say, sorry, please, no, thank you, excuse me. I mentioned, or I started to say thank you or please so many times in that particular year, or after coming to the UK, which I had never mentioned in my entire life before coming to the UK, because in India, the notion of being informal with each other is considered as a gesture of affinity or bond and warmth with each other. But here, it was different. And also, I had to think a lot before speaking to anyone here. It was not like going and approaching a random person and just speak. So things were different, but certainly I felt in love with this country. I decided that I would like to develop my career here. Until that time, there was a visa called post-study work visa by British government, which was for 3 years, meaning if a student who were coming to the UK for studies, they used to get this PSW visa for 3 years. But they had stopped giving those visas from the very same year, from 2012. So I didn't have that visa, and I didn't have any other option also. The only option was to get a sponsorship from a company. If they sponsor you, then you can stay here. And to get a sponsorship was next to impossible because of the certain rules and the regulations related with that sponsorship. So how to live here, how to survive after that 1 year of visa? I used to check updates on government website all the time. So on 1st of March 2013, they released one update. It was related with the graduate entrepreneur visa, meaning if a student is graduating from the UK, and if the student has a business idea, which is viable, and the student has experience to deliver that. So such 1,000 students across the UK were supposed to get sponsorship from the universities, meaning 10 students per university. I found a ray of hope in that visa. On the very day, in the afternoon, I went to university asking about this visa, and the university officials were also not aware of these new visa rules and this new visa. So they asked me to give them a week, and then they told me in order to get this visa, I need to pitch a new business idea, which is viable, and I should have experience of delivering that idea also. And if they see if that's a fit, then they would give a sponsorship. I began to work on that, and everyone was working on assignments, and everyone was working on the course material. And I was doing these part-time jobs, studies, and also I began my journey to develop a business plan. No wonder what my idea would be. Because being a movie buff, in Coventry also I used to go to cinema to watch movies every Friday. And there I realized very few people, they are aware of Indian movies releasing in the UK. So I realized I can work on this idea. So the idea was called IndianMovieFriend.com, a ticketing portal for Indian movies and events. I had decided to stop all the jobs from June onwards, because in the month of August there was submission of our final project, which was a dissertation. So to focus on the project and the interview preparation for this graduate entrepreneur visa, I did not work. I decided not to work in July and August. So I had worked for this 6 months until June, and I saved as much money as I can to survive in order to next 2 months. I was busy in preparation of the business plan. The thing about that, I was working on a business plan for this visa, and there were around 120 students in my batch, and none of them, they saw any opportunity or any potential to get this kind of visa, because it was just hard to get and it was very new. So none of them, they even bother to try to get this visa. And so they were busy in the main dissertation, the main project for the program. And so whenever they used to see me, they used to mock me. They used to tease me with the name of business plan. Hey, let's see, this business plan is coming. A business plan, where are you going? So they used to mock me like that all the time. And they used to go, in summer they used to go to play cricket, and they used to invite. But I used to say, no, I'm busy making in the business plan. So yeah, I was known as a business plan for some time for those students. Finally, I managed to submit the business plan, and then I went ahead with the 3 rounds of interview. But I ran out of money in the month of August, and I was working for the dissertation. And so I was living on a minimum ration, only bread and milk. And in the university, when I used to work in a daytime on my dissertation. So for food, I used to go to a temple for Sikhs, which is called Gurudwara, to have food. So I used to walk almost 2 miles every day. It was for 2 weeks, and have my lunch at Gurudwara. I used to have quite a big amount of lunch, so in order to not to have food for dinner. So I did that for 2 weeks, and that's how I survived in the month of August. And I finished the final proposal, and then I submitted. So I was waiting for the result for my graduate entrepreneurship thing. It was already September, and late September. Meanwhile, after my submission of the project, officially the term for the semesters, that it was finished, and I had this remaining time. I began with my part-time jobs again, and I was waiting for the result for the graduate entrepreneurship result. I did not want to quit, so I thought to fight until the last moment. So my visa was running out on 30th September. I booked my flight to India 30th September, the very last flight, around 11 p.m. And I thought, let's see what will happen. And to my surprise, on 24th of September 2013, I received email from university, and it said that they liked my idea and they would like to sponsor me for my business, and they were happy to award me graduate entrepreneur visa. It was very happy moment. I was very happy about that. I was so excited. I was just happy. I went to university to do the documentation, and the news spread in the university, and there were like 20-25 my college mates, my batchmates, they were there, and suddenly I was this little famous guy, and I remember everyone was there, and they approached me, they came to me, and they were asking me, how did I do it, what did I do, how did I get this sponsorship, what one needs to do, all those questions. So it was a very sweet moment, it was a very happy feeling. It took place, then I informed my family, and then I cancelled all my travel arrangements in India, and then I went to university. I told them, okay, so I can apply for a visa in December. After 3 months, there were some protocols to be followed, 90 days period after the sponsorship letter. And my visa was finishing, so I asked them whether I can stay here and attend my graduation ceremony in the month of November, and then subsequently make application for this visa in the December. And they did not say no for that. So there was one lady, where the place where I was living, she was also immigration lawyer, so she suggested a way to have a visa called a bridging visa from September to December. So university officials, they also didn't say no for the bridging visa. So I applied for the bridging visa, and I remained in the UK. I was doing all my jobs. And the convocation ceremony took place in the November. They were charging a few £100 for the graduation ceremony coat to give on rentals for that ceremony, and I did not want to invest my funds in that. So there were like 1,000 students who were graduating, and I was the only student who did not have the graduation ceremony gown.
त्यानं कॉन्व्हेकेशन आम्हाला बोलावलं होतं, पण आम्ही कॉन्व्हेकेशनला जाऊ शकलो नाही, तर पैसे नव्हते. त्याचबरोबर त्याला कॉन्व्हेकेशनसाठी ते विशेष ड्रेस असतो त्या देशाचा, तो पण त्याला ड्रेस घ्यायला त्याकडे पैसे नव्हते, आणि पैसे मागणी केली, पण नाही रे बाळा, आपल्याकडे तेवढे पैसे नाहीत, तर राहू दे तसं साध्या ड्रेसवर जा म्हणून सांगितलं. त्यानंतर त्याचं कॉन्व्हेकेशनचं आम्हाला व्हिडिओ शूटिंग लाईव्ह मध्ये दाखवलं. आम्हाला खूप आनंद झाला.
I thought, okay, the significance of the coat is only for the photo opportunity. So after the ceremony, I thought I'll borrow the coat from my friends, and I took photos, and then I went ahead with the graduation ceremony, and then I later had all the pictures with the gown with my friends. In the month of December, when the time came to make application for the graduate entrepreneur visa, I visited university, and the university officer said that my bridge visa was already cancelled, and I was living in the UK without visa. I was overstaying without visa, and that was also almost for 58 days. And they asked me immediately to go back to India and make application for this visa from India. And my world just turned upside down. Whatever amount of work I had done, I thought if I'll go back to India, and because of this overstay situation, I would never get chance to come back. And that thought was so scary. Going back to India again, and and I asked them that whether university you were okay with that, but they did not comment on that. They said they never gave any such kind of advice. So the advice which the lady, immigration lawyer lady, gave to me, it turned out to be false, incorrect. So I had to book ticket to India, and I did not mention anything to my parents about this refusal and everything. So I mentioned them that I'm coming back to meet everyone. Then I'll be making application for visa, and then I'll be coming back again here to UK. So I went to India on 9th of December 2013 first time.